It looks like campaign season is officially here. Donald Trump blasts Joe Biden. Wait, some people actually want cops back? And finally, one cop's out there putting in hard duty? All that's coming up right now on I'm Right. It looks like campaign season is finally here, and I am excited about it. You may not be, but I'm about to tell you why you should be excited. Look, there's no shortage of bad news out there right now. I don't have to elaborate everything for you, but the good news is this. One, campaigns, if you look at them as entertainment, while very important entertainment, but entertainment, it makes life a lot easier. This attack ad, that attack ad. You know, we're going to have candidates top to bottom across the country running ads, so you get treated, if you spend any time online, to the worst, cringiest ads you've ever seen in your life, and we're going to bring you all of those ads right here on my show, and we're going to laugh, and we're going to have fun, because what else can we do at this point? What else can we do? Everything sucks right now. That's putting it pretty strong. Everything doesn't suck, but look, it's rough times right now. What else can we do? We can laugh and enjoy a campaign. We can also enjoy, while setting aside how stressed we are about the possible results, we can also sit back and enjoy a presidential campaign you're going to remember. I have not seen one like this before. I really have not. You have this candidate, Donald Trump, this political phenom, never run for office before, knows everything in the world about publicity, though, about showmanship. He knows how to work TV. He knows how to work the news, decides he's going to run for president out of the blue. And there are all kinds of reports out there that he didn't think he could win or what. I don't know. Who knows if any of that's true. But he runs out of the blue. And all of a sudden, very, very shortly, finds himself storming through the GOP primary. Storming through it. The dude's never run for anything. Storms right through it. And then people out there, and I will tell you, I was one of them, as he's storming through the primary, there were people out there saying, well, this guy's never going to get elected president. We got to elect Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is my man. We got to elect Ted Cruz. We got to do something. Yet nobody else stood a chance, ever. It was always Trump's. He didn't beat the field. He lapped the field. Then he goes up against Hillary Clinton, and he's this bombastic dude. We have these accusations from a long time ago coming out. He doesn't speak like everybody else. There's little undercover videos coming out of him saying extremely lewd things. The dude's been divorced 3 times. He's dripping in personal baggage. This guy has no chance. Hillary's going to kill him. He's down in every poll, and on election night, all of us by the end of the night are sitting there toasting to President Donald Trump. Sorry, it's just water. I know I'm boring and old now. Toasting to President Donald Trump because he now has pulled off the impossible. He transitions right from that into being a really good president. I don't care how many people out there, maybe you're one of them, can't stand the guy. I care about the issues that matter to me. I don't care about style points. I don't care about all of it. I care about America. I want to know about the economy. I want to know about things like abortion. I want to know about taxes, regulations. These are the things I care about. Donald Trump's been the best president of my lifetime. I don't care how much that makes people angry. He has been. The dude gets in there, starts slashing regulations, cuts taxes. The economy takes off like a rocket. He's not bad on social issues. The dude is dynamite. We have these judges, some of whom have turned out to suck, but we have these judges. He's packing the courts with great judges. People were looking around saying, where'd this guy come from? Then about 3-4 months ago, it all just goes down in flames. A virus pops up from China, gets here. You know how I feel about it. I hated Trump's response to it, going along with all this lockdown madness, because I don't think you ever lock down an economy, ever, for any reason. And then right in the middle of the lockdown, we had the George Floyd protests. And again, I feel like he was scared, wasn't sure what to do, gave a voice to people who should never have a voice in his administration. And now the great economy is still kind of great stock market wise, very much not great 11% unemployment wise. So what even is Trump? What is he? Is he the president that was very much going to get reelected 3-4 months ago? I mean, it was a guarantee. To up in the air. Is he now? He's down in every poll. My goodness, he's down in some Texas polls. And that's just the Trump portion of it. The Biden portion of it is even more baffling. Joe Biden, remember this, Joe Biden was never a major player in the Democrat Party. Ever. And I mean ever. He was just a guy who existed as a Delaware senator for 30 years. You know, there are senators like this all over the place. There's 100 of them. You've heard of what, 5, 6? There are senators who just like to punch their 6-year term ticket, cruise along, do their thing, do it quietly, and that's fine. I don't need everybody to be a national voice. But Biden was a nobody, and nobody. He had run for president once before, got like 2% of the vote or something stupid. He was always a buffoon, always saying something dumb, but nobody. And then Barack Obama comes along. Barack Obama's, this young hot star in the Democrat Party, gets the nomination. He needs to fill in his gaps or his perceived gaps. And what's he missing? He's missing any foreign policy experience or any experience at all because Barack Obama never did anything. Joe Biden's been in Washington for 10,000 years. Barack Obama needed somebody white because he was worried people would be uneasy with the black dude. Boom, Joe Biden gets there. But even after that, Joe Biden gets to be vice president. When did you ever hear from Joe Biden? Ever? Really? I mean, there's a couple stupid sound bites here and there. But Joe Biden, as vice president, was treated like many vice presidents have been treated, like the idiot who lives next door, who goes on all the grocery store runs you don't want to go on. What's that? The ambassador of Turkey wants to meet? Oh, I freaking hate that flight. I can't even stand that guy. He has bad breath. You know what? Send Joe. Just send Joe. That's what it was. 8 years of that. It didn't like he did something special. He emerges from this, and his political career's over, right? Should be. Hillary gets her butt kicked. Everyone starts whispering about Joe Biden, only now Joe Biden has something else. What it is, I don't know, but Joe Biden has something mentally wrong with him. I don't know what that is. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to know, but I do have eyes and ears. I don't know whether he's senile, Alzheimer's, dementia. I don't know. I hope he doesn't have any of those things. I don't care how much I disagree with the guy. Those are horrible things, but he has something. I can see it. Everyone can see it. Only he's going to be the Democratic nominee for president of the United States with all those things. He looks old and feeble. He sounds old and feeble. So you have the current president who's embattled, to put it mildly right now, and then you have Joe Biden who may not make it fully functionally, if he's even still considered fully functional to election day. This is going to be an insane campaign to watch, and I am here for it. Donald Trump went after him in the Rose Garden yesterday.
There has never been a time, and this is just a few, it's much worse than that. We did this very quickly. It's probably never been a time when candidates are so different. We want law and order. They don't want law and order. We want strong, closed borders with people able to come in through merit, through a legal process. They don't want to have any borders at all. They're going to rip down the wall. Biden's gone radical left.
He has. And what's amazing about that is I hear people say, well, Biden's radical left now. Biden's radical left. Let me explain something to you. People who actually believe in something in Washington, D.C., whether they be far left, far right, whatever it may be, the people who actually believe in something are the people who just got there. And I'm not actually saying that to insult anybody specific, for once. I'm not even trying to be mean to Joe Biden. Joe Biden has been a Washington, D.C. politician for 9 million years. Joe Biden isn't radical left. He isn't radical right. He isn't moderate. Joe Biden now believes in absolutely nothing but staying in Washington, D.C. That's Joe Biden's belief system, which would be fine, except he lacks the strength and he lacks the belief system to stand up against what's happened to his party. Joe Biden's party is so out there now. Everything Donald Trump just said is true. The Democrat Party is openly anti-cop. The Democrat Party is openly for illegal immigration. Who has ever even heard of anything like that in a major political party in the history of the world? And the Democrat Party, they also want to further destroy the economy.
These aren't pie-in-the-sky dreams. These are actionable policies that we can get to work on right away. We can live up to our responsibilities, meet the challenges of a world at risk of a climate catastrophe, build more climate-resilient communities, put millions of skilled workers on the job, and make life markedly better and safer for the American people all at once and benefit the world in the process. The alternative? Continue to ignore the facts, deny reality, focus only on technology of the last century instead of inventing the technology that will define this century. It's just plain un-American not to. This is all that Donald Trump and the Republicans offer. Backward-looking policies that will harm the environment, make communities less healthy, hold back economic promise, while other countries race ahead.
That's a $2 trillion environmental plan he unleashed, and I've looked at it. $2 trillion, maybe what it costs up front. It's the end of the United States economy as we know it. It's one of those plans that is so radical, as soon as it gets out, it will guarantee lose him the Rust Belt. Are these people insane? Are they completely insane? Are they completely beholden to the wrong people? And in case you think, wow, that's too radical. I can't believe Biden's saying that. Bernie, he says it doesn't go far enough.
I'll tell you, I don't think they go far enough. And the people who are on representing the progressive community on the task forces don't think these proposals go far enough. But the answer is to elect Joe Biden and then to strengthen our grassroots movement to make sure that in all respects, the environment, the economy, healthcare, we have a government that represents all of us and not just the few. But I think it is very hard for anybody to seriously look at these proposals, whether it is on healthcare, whether it's on the environment or climate change, whether it's on education, whether it's in the economy, and not to see that if these proposals were to be implemented, Joe Biden would be the most progressive president since FDR. It's a significant step forward, but in truth, it's not all that I would like.
I want you to think about something real briefly before I wrap it up here. Bernie Sanders is a communist. I'm not doing one of those things where I'm just blasting at somebody calling everybody a communist. The man vacationed, honeymooned in communist Russia. The man has said communist things throughout his career. He calls himself a socialist, whatever. Those two things are virtually the same anyway. Why do you think Bernie Sanders loves the climate change stuff so much? Why do you think that is? Just something to think about. All right, here's something else you need to think about. Getting evicted from your home. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jesse, what are you talking about? I pay my bills. What are you talking about? Are you sure you pay your bills? Are you sure you pay all the bills? Here's what I mean. You might be a victim of home title theft right now and not even know it. Your home title's online. Somebody may have gotten a hold of it already. Got your signature on it, taken it, gotten a loan out against it. Now you owe a boatload of money you don't even know about. You have a bill out there, and you're going to spend so much time not paying it. You're going to be like this lady, Deborah, I told you about yesterday. You're going to get evicted from your home when you didn't do anything wrong. Don't get stuck in that situation. Go to HomeTitleLock.com right now. Register your address. See if you're already a victim. While you're there, use the code Jesse. Get yourself 30 free days. HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Jesse. We'll be back. I just wanted to churn through a few different things here really quickly because there are some headlines out there I have some brief feelings on. All right, maybe not so brief, but I want to keep it brief. There are a few headlines I have some brief thoughts on, and then I'm going to let you go as we move on to our great guests for the evening. So, first of all, the Brooklyn Borough president, he had something interesting to say.
I think that a total elimination is something we need to reevaluate. Right now, bad guys are saying that if you don't see a blue and white, you can do whatever you want.
What he's saying is he wants them to bring back the plainclothes police that the Black Lives Matter pushed for and got completely removed. That's good he's saying that now. Where was all this before? Where was this before? How did people think this was going to end? Were there actually people out there? Are there actually people out there who think removing police officers from bad, crime-ridden areas is going to improve things? Do people really believe that? There can't really be people that stupid and self-deluded, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are. But that story was always going to end one way. And no matter who you are, no matter what your walk of life is, if you found yourself at a Black Lives Matter rally, you are at least partially responsible for all the absolute misery that's about to come down on the poor black community in urban areas. You are. It's your fault that you're too stupid to figure out an openly Marxist, anti-black, anti-white, anti-everything, anti-America movement, that you're too stupid to recognize that is not a minor thing. It's the kind of thing that's going to cost people their lives, has cost people their lives. We have children dying, young black children dying, getting shot. And again, let me say this. If you went to a Black Lives Matter rally, go to the bathroom right now and take a long look in the mirror. Your stupidity has brought this down on America. You own it. Now, the NBA, switching gears here, the NBA has openly courted China's love. It's no secret why. The NBA individual players and the NBA itself, they make a ton of money in China. Professional basketball is very popular in China. And that creates a little bit of an awkward relationship for the NBA, for the individual NBA players, doesn't it? Well, you have a really intimate relationship with a communist dictatorship. There's not another way to put that. You have idiots like LeBron James out there acting like a civil rights leader in the United States of America while openly defending the communist Chinese regime that's currently operating concentration camps. Makes things awkward, doesn't it? But it seems it gets even worse. You see, the NBA has a place online, almost every sports league does now, where you can buy a jersey, buy a Lakers jersey, whatever your team is, and you can customize it. Put whatever name you want. I'm sure you'd want to put Jesse Kelly, but that's another story. Put whatever name you want on the back, wear it to games. And this one, you could put anything you want, except for one thing. You couldn't put free Hong Kong. It wouldn't process the order. Obviously, the NBA finally responded after mass outrage. Senator Josh Hawley had this to say.
The NBA is worth over $1 billion in China, NBA China is. That's why, Hugh, last fall, when Hong Kong was in the throes of protest because of the authoritarian crackdown, the NBA would say nothing. And you might remember that the Houston Rockets general manager, Daryl Morey, when he retweeted, he didn't even say it himself, he just retweeted one little line that said, "Stand with Hong Kong," or "Free Hong Kong," and oh my goodness, the sky was falling. He got censored. The league came down hard on him. And so I just asked in my letter that I sent on Friday that you referenced, I said, listen, if the NBA is going to put these social justice statements on the back of uniforms, which is what they're doing now, why is it that there's nothing on there about like Free Hong Kong or the Uyghurs or anything that has to do with the billions of dollars the NBA makes in China?
Why isn't there? Here's a better question, a broader question, because I don't expect you to care about a customizable NBA jersey. I certainly don't. If China is the enemy, and they certainly are, let's just acknowledge we're in a bit of a Cold War with China. China is a communist dictatorship. Why are we, the United States of America, allowing a corporation to operate and make money within our borders that's on the side of China? I know that's an uncomfortable question to ask, right? We don't want to ask that. It's time to start asking that. Why are we allowing this to happen? The NBA operates here. Either you're loyal to us or you're not, and you got to go. Uncomfortable, isn't it? You need a good night's sleep tonight. You need a good night's sleep every single night, like I get a good night's sleep every single night. Go to tryebb.com/Jesse right now and just check it out. All I'm asking is you to check it out, because it has changed how I am at home, how I am at work. When you start stringing together, it's not one night. When you start stringing together nights of 8-9 hours of sleep in a row, you will sense everything in your life change. You don't have to sit and reach for the bottle of sleeping pills every night. You don't have to lay there staring at the ceiling, hope it all ends. Try an Ebb Sleep for risk-free for 60 days. Risk-free. That is an absurd level of confidence in your product. Go to tryebb.com/Jesse. That's tryebb.com/Jesse. Use the promo code Jesse, though. Get you $25 off. We'll be back. Joining me now with BearingArms.com, Cam Edwards. And Cam, you are bearing arms today, rocking the T-shirt today. What kind of T-shirt? I can't tell because of your ZZ Top beard.
This was the last concert I actually went to, Jesse. This was my son's favorite band. My youngest son's favorite band is Weezer. One of my favorite bands is the Pixies. Weezer and the Pixies out on tour. I think it was last March. So we went to go see it in Baltimore. He got a Weezer shirt. I got a Pixies shirt. I got the cooler shirt by far.
I will admit that I like your shirt better than any Weezer shirt on earth. However, Weezer is a much better band. What is it about concerts, Cam? I don't ever want to go. Whenever someone invites me to a concert, I don't want to go. I drag my feet the whole way. I complain about it the entire way. And as soon as I show up at a concert, I have the time of my life and say on the way out, I need to go to concerts more.
You know, I'm kind of the same way. Like, this was probably the first concert in several years that I had gone to. And I will say, I mean, I will listen to the Pixies any day over Weezer on my car stereo. But Weezer put on such an incredible show. They had just put out that covers album. So, you know, not only are they playing their hits, but they're playing Aha. You know, they're playing Toto. So it was this huge party atmosphere. And it was completely apolitical. Give the band credit for that. There was never a moment where I was like, oh, geez, here we go. So that's what I like. You know, I just let me go and enjoy myself for a couple of hours. And it was a great show. Hopefully we'll get to go and do that again at some point in the not too distant future.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Well, Cam, are we going to? I'm sorry. I don't see this stopping. And I hear people say it all the time about how, oh, this will stop if Biden gets elected. It'll stop the day after. Cam, I'm not convinced. I think these governors and these mayors, I think they get off on this kind of power, and I think the public is still scared enough of this thing that they're going along with everything.
So, you know, it's interesting, Jesse. I just read probably a couple of weeks ago a book called Freedom from Fear, which is part of the Oxford History of the United States, and it covers the Great Depression up through World War II. And, you know, this is not some conservative rewriting of history, right? This is the Oxford History of the United States. And the author makes it abundantly clear at several points that Franklin Delano Roosevelt and a lot of members of the New Deal government weren't particularly concerned about how long the Great Depression lasted, because they understood that in times of economic uncertainty, the government has a hell of a lot more leeway to enact a big, bold agenda. And, you know, the Great Depression actually did last throughout much of the 1930s. So, listen, I don't think it's an unreasonable fear to have that if Democrats take control of all of the levers of government, that all of a sudden our economic rebound takes a back seat to their policy ideas and their remaking of America. I think that's absolutely a concern that every voter should have.
Cam, speaking of remaking America, Biden again put out another statement about it. Obama talked about fundamentally changing America. Now, I don't want to look at history through rose-colored glasses, but I don't even think I could picture Bill Clinton saying something like that. How did it get to be an anti-American party. I would try to picture a single major Democrat talking about America in a wonderful way or something they love about America. You can't even picture it. Even thinking about it is laughable. How did that happen so fast? When did that happen?
I think we've been seeing the trend for a couple of years. I think 2018 was probably the moment. Actually, probably, the day that Donald Trump got elected. I think it became easy for people on the left to say, this isn't my country, not my president. I can't stand this place. Can't believe that so many of my fellow Americans would vote for this guy. And I think it allowed the left what they perceive to be the moral authority to reject this country and to remake this country, to see this country as irredeemable. And I think that it's only gotten worse in the years since. I think politicians like AOC and Ilhan Omar have, made anti-Americanism chic among a lot of young members of the left. And then, Jesse, I think that there's this foundational belief among those neo-Marxists out there who also make up a pretty sizable portion of the far left that it is going to take a revolution to overthrow this country, because not only do they hate America, but they hate capitalism. And America is the beacon of capitalism. So if you're going to destroy capitalism and replace it with communism, then you absolutely must destroy the greatest nation on earth in terms of its economic engine, which is driven by capitalism. And that is the United States. So, it has flipped very quickly, and I don't see it flipping back again, particularly soon, unfortunately, because I think that, they're making their bed right now, and this is where they're going to, raise their flag and make their stand.
Cam, are we just going through what every nation on the downswing goes through? I mean, I look at history, and this is not unique. It doesn't appear to be unique to me. We got very wealthy because of our successes early on, and then we got fat, and then we got bored, and now we raise a generation that hates where they live. It's fairly common.
It is fairly common, and I'm sure that, it's really easy to go back and try to read into history, because history, what's the saying, right? It doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And so we can find, from the fall of the Roman Empire to the decline of the British Empire to, all of these other situations where, man, is this America on the decline? Look, I think, and I said in a book that I covered with Jim Garrity a few years ago called Heavy Lifting, Grow Up, Get a Job, Start a Family, and Other Manly Advice, that I'm the son of a World War II veteran. And I believe that every generation since his generation has had it exponentially easier. We have become spoiled. And this is not a left versus right thing. This is just a generational thing. Our lives have gotten easier. I look back at what my parents went through in the Great Depression, what my dad went through 17, 18 years old on a destroyer in the Pacific Theater. And I think back to where I was at 18, never having to go through anything like that at all. I can even look at, the things that I did starting work at 15 and, working hard when I was a teenager in order to save up money, to things that, my kids have been able to delay that a couple of years. They haven't had their first job right at 16. I have a hard time getting my youngest kids to want to drive, and they're 15 and a half. We have become spoiled as a nation. And this isn't something that happened when Donald Trump got elected. This is something I believe that honestly happened with it started with the best of intentions, Jesse. It started with people like my dad saying, I never want my kids to have to go through what I went through. And they blessed this country with incredible economic prosperity. But now we're like 3 generations removed from that. And you're right. We've got all of these idiots that are standing on the shoulders of giants thinking that, they're actually in the depths of despair when they live in the greatest, freest nation at the freest moment in time in human history. And they absolutely want to destroy it.
Cam, what do we do? Can it be turned around? What's the solution? I mean, look, you and I can sit here all day long on TV and we can talk about America has drifted away from faith and family, and those things aren't valued anymore in this country, and that's obviously true. But what do we do?
But you're giving me the easy questions today, Jesse. Thank you for lobbing these softballs at me. I don't even have a book to plug where I could say, well, here's the answer. It's $22.95. So listen, let's give you a couple of different options here. You have talked about the great divorce before. as opposed to Civil War II, right? And I'm on board with the idea. If it comes down to it, I'm on board with the idea of the Great Divorce over Civil War. I wish that there was some way we could have some sort of national marriage counseling. Here's the thing. So you do Dr. Kelly, right? Dr. Jesse, and you do your advice. What we need is sort of like a political version of Loveline, where we could get a, Antifa type, and we could get somebody from, I don't know, Liberty University, Jerry Falwell Jr., sit down, and we could have almost like a marriage therapy session, right? For just an hour, can we find some sort of common ground? People might watch that on Netflix. I don't know if it would heal the country. And if it can't be done, then you say, we tried. We went to counseling. We tried to stay together for the sake of the kids. Couldn't happen. And so, we've got to have that great divorce. The other option is the darker option. And just as the lights went out across Europe in the 1930s, the lights go out across the United States in the 2020s. One of the favorite books of Ronald Reagan was a book by a guy named Whittaker Chambers. He's actually the guy holding the hay bale behind me, called Witness. Whittaker Chambers was a member of the Communist Underground in the 1930s. He eventually renounced communism. He came out in the 1940s, and he unveiled this secret Soviet spy ring that was operating in the State Department and in the Agriculture Department, named Alger Hiss. A huge, huge deal. And it's a fantastic book. But it's very, very depressing, because Whittaker Chambers says at the beginning, this is written in 1950. He says, when I left communism, I know that I left the winning side for the losing side. And he's writing in 1950 about gathering up these pearls of wisdom that we've accumulated throughout human history, the things that make up small c conservatism, and holding them close like monks did during the Dark Ages with their books. That one day authoritarianism does arrive here and totalitarian does arrive here. And all of a sudden the United States looks much closer to communist China than it did 10 years ago. That's a possibility too, Jesse, and I don't want to see that happen either. But I'm getting increasingly concerned that if we don't stand up, and it's not just a matter of conservatives standing up, it's the people who I disagree with, but can have a conversation with, those folks who signed that letter at Harper's Magazine last week, the ones who didn't cower when the critics came for them. If we don't stand up as Americans, as unhyphenated Americans, and say what this soft authoritarianism and the hard totalitarianism that we're seeing here, if that doesn't stop, then we lose it all. And we will stand together despite our differences in opposition to this creeping totalitarianism. If we don't do that, then who knows where we'll be even 6 months or a year from now.
Man, that's dark, but that's good, Cam. Cam Edwards, bearingarms.com. I appreciate you, my friend. That was awesome.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
See you, bud. You know what? I think I'm going to have to listen to Cam again on the way home, because that was freaking electric. And you know what? I'm going to listen on my Raycon earbuds. My Raycon earbuds that cost like half of what the other high-end earbuds do. And to pair them, because I don't know what I'm doing with this phone when I'm trying to pair something, it took me like 10 seconds. I'm not exaggerating. That's about what it took me. 10 seconds. They pair right up. They go in my ears. I hardly know they're there, and I have crystal clear sound. Go get yourself some Raycon earbuds. You will email me a thank you, Jesse, once you get them. Go to buyraycon.com/Jesse. That's buyraycon.com/Jesse. That gets you 15% off the already great price. We'll be back. Joining me now is the Dean of Business at Liberty University, Dave Bratt, regular on the show. We appreciate that very much, because I know he's a busy man. And Congressman, well, I should say former Congressman as well, I wanted to ask you first about Liberty University, because I've been talking a lot this week about the big lie out there. And Liberty University is a great example of that. I remember it was all the rage when coronavirus popped up and Liberty University said they were getting ready to open up. And it was every headline. It was every headline. Everybody's going to die. This is how you spread it. Everyone's going to die. It's the end of the world. And everybody believes it. To this day, people believe it. And Liberty comes out totally fine. But the narrative is set early on, and people, for some reason, lack the courage to step up and say, no, that was a lie. And I see this all over our society now, people just accepting the narrative they've been given.
Yeah, well, the narrative, I kind of have a Marxist test for a Marxist detector. And so liberty stands for, the Judeo-Christian tradition and freedom, the Constitution, a pro-business mentality, all the stuff that takes decades to build up positive. New York Times comes in, and now, the editor of the New York Times opinion page got fired too by the mob. The kids came in, and the Marxist test is always, if you tear a statue down, what statue are you going to put in its place? Name it. If you tear down capitalism, what economic system are you going to put in its place? Name it. Name a name. The Marxists are great at this, right? There's the capitalists are the bad guys and the workers are the good guys. And now they have all these buckets for all of, the exploiters versus the exploited. And they failed to mention that all the top capitalists now are leftists, right? Amazon and Facebook and Twitter and all these guys, they're leftist billionaires. And Nike and the billionaires are playing marionette up there with everybody, right? Because they're making tennis shoes with Chinese slave labor. They don't want anybody to notice the big billion-dollar problem. So they fund the radical groups over here, right? This little stuff, and they get their penance points for the week. Please don't bash us, for a while. But the mob's going to come after them eventually too. And so New York Times, we're used to it at Liberty. Everybody knows who we are. On campus, everybody loves each other, right? There's one bashing after another at Liberty. Our faculty, the church network we have between blacks and whites and men and women here, it's all a loving community that extends to the broader business community and Lynchburg in general. And yeah, we came out great after that New York Times piece. That was just a hit. We're used to it, but we build stuff here, right? We build great sports programs, great academic programs, positive kids with an ethical system where they're going to tell the truth. You hire a Liberty student, you know what you're getting. Versus the Marxists, they promise you the world. They promise you Lenin and Stalin and Mao. They promise you harmony, happiness, right? In China, and the people over there, I don't detect a whole lot of happiness and harmony over in China right now.
Congressman, but surely you guys want to catch up to Harvard. Shouldn't you be hiring some Chinese spies?
Right. We're ahead of Harvard. I've got so many books, right? The Golden Parachute and all these. They were founded by good Calvinists, right? My forebears 400 years ago, 1640. And their original statement was good. Truth for Christ and church. Shocker. That's Harvard's motto in 1640. I don't think it is anymore. Now I don't know what they're in search of. So we're a better school. We know what we stand for. We know the foundation, the fundamentals. We're holding strong. Harvard's in search of some ethics. Their MBA program, every time Milken or someone gets in jail, they get a $30 million gift. So we're better than Harvard in a lot of ways. That we know who we are. And a lot of these schools are searching for an identity now.
Congressman, on my show yesterday, I was talking about Dien Bien Phu, and I know you know what that is, but as I was digging into it, I found it fascinating how Russia was involved and China was involved. And I just find communism to be so fascinating in that way, how it spreads and how all the communists seem to help each other, and it just spreads like a virus. And no, I'm not sorry to describe it in that way. What more could we have done to keep it from spreading here in America? Because let's just accept it is spread far and wide here.
Yeah, it's just very hard. The parents have not done a good job of researching the schools. One good thing about this COVID, if there's any good that comes out of it, is these courses are online now. So the parents are at home watching some of these courses, and they're thinking they're paying for these great educators in economics and political science or whatever at Harvard and Yale. And they're getting all these Marxist, neo-Marxist theorists, right, about, every ism under the sun. And so the appeal of Marxism is that there is a utopia achievable within history, right? The Judeo-Christian tradition and every great philosopher of note, right? I mean, Augustine, Aquinas, Kant, Hume, Adam Smith, you get right through them. There's not one that had a positive view of human nature. Madison, who framed why do we separate powers, right? Executive branch, and why do we separate federal from the state and the local? Because that's the old Protestant theory, right? Human nature ain't perfect. We're not a bunch of angels. So you separate power. And that gave us a great, 100-year run of just amazing freedom, amazing economic growth. And now that's under challenge. The Marxists promise more. They promise utopia for everybody, whether you work or you don't work, right? If you're a kid that just is ticked off, they promise you everything free. If you got a bad attitude, you don't want to work. It's an attractive philosophy for the rebels, right? And what they don't tell you is once they take over, go to China right now, right? They got the social credit score, and there's no web, there's no World Wide Web. You can't get any news. So the folks that live under communism don't even know what freedom looks like. So they have no basis for comparison. And people really need to go take a look at what's going on in China right now. The Uyghurs out in the Western, the Turkic Muslims that are 2 million in concentration camps, re-education camps, Muslims from God to no God, right, under the Chinese totalitarian regime. And we had Tiananmen Square, we had the Tibetan peace. You got live organ transplants going on right now with the dissidents that go to jail. It's all going on. Where are our American liberals who used to care about, human beings as human beings, right? The left the liberals used to defend these folks, and they're gone.
Well, don't we just have to accept now? I mean, it looks plain as day to me. Don't we have to accept the American leftists are on the Chinese side? I know that may sound extreme, but I mean, somebody please tell me I'm wrong. If the Chinese landed their army on California's shores tomorrow, the Washington Post and CNN would have headlines out that night explaining why it's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, and that's right. And the one premise that's more important than all the rest, and the media will not allow this to go out, is that China sent us the virus. How you want to interpret that is up to you, right? There's a lab in Wuhan, 20 miles from where the virus came. The woman scientist said, oh my God, I wonder if that's my lab, right? That's on the record. And then they opened up 400,000 flights around the world. At the same time, they shut down flights in China, in Wuhan, and they shut down all flights to Beijing. That's all fact. So the one piece you will not hear, because they want Trump out, they cannot let that premise stand, that the virus and the cause of your misery in life right now is from China. The virus is from China. The economic downturn is from China. The hardship your family is experiencing is from China. The fact that you couldn't go to your synagogue or Easter service for the first time in 2,000 years, that's a big deal. The fact that we shut down our economy by fiat for the first time in history, that's because of China. The press will never go there because they want to blame Trump for every single one of those things, right? Ventilators and masks and all that. Hey, no, you're wrong. You're all the lefties are wrong. The virus came from China. And they're never going to let that out because that would have huge ramifications for the election in November.
Congressman Dave Brat, Dean of Business at Liberty University. Thank you, sir.
Hey, great to be on. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. We'll be back. Well, cops have been treated extremely poorly, to put it mildly, over the past few weeks. Cops in general are treated poorly. Who likes the guy whose job it is to enforce the rules after all? But it's nice to see there's one cop out there who's still remaining close with his community.
Let's go! He the coolest cop in the city right now, man. He the coolest cop in mother Southwest. All that ass right. He don't stand right there. Take all that. Come on. Yeah. Let the money go. Let it go. Yes, sir.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow.